Hello, it is I, Ramses the 800th, and we are back with Manga Roundup. This is gonna be. I'm getting better at the 2 week ish cycle within like 2 weeks, but yeah, we're covering 5 series. I had to do this I think 3 times because I kept forgetting a series while I was doing it. But we're gonna be covering RuriDragon, Kaiju number 8, Ichi the Witch, Chainsaw Man, and Kagurabachi. It's still probably gonna be a little shorter than my usual manga roundups because uh I think RuriDragon had a skip. Oh well, we already skipped that one. Um, Chainsaw Man's on hiatus, so we didn't. Well, it took a break, so we didn't have a chapter this week. Yeah, this week, and Kagurabachi had a weird .5 chapter that wasn't. It was like a break. It wasn't like a full on chapter that continued the story. It was like a little break chapter. But we'll talk about that more when we get to Kagurabachi. For now, I'm saying it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are already saying it. I'm pretty sure everyone's like talking about it already. Kagurabachi is basically going like up in Shonen in Shonen Jump because this is like the what third time they've had this full color like the banner, and I'm so happy that they're getting it because oh my god, it's so good. But we're not gonna be talking about that right now. Right now, we're gonna be talking about RuriDragon chapter 25. Chapter 25 is it's a nice like I always say RuriDragon is a very like nice. There's not really too many like there's not too much drama. Everything's very like homey, you know what I mean? The dialogue is very nice, and we get even more like weird dragon traits from Ruri with her horns changing shape. And she's worried about it. She's like, I don't really know why. And she goes to her teacher, and he's basically just like, oh, you're in what is it, enhanced state. Basically, whenever your emotional states are like heightened, or when you like basically he's saying like you're amped up, you're in good spirits, you're living your best life, and your body's just reflecting that. Why with your horns changing shape, they should go back to normal once you've calmed down, or maybe not, and she goes back to her friends and just tells them like, oh, that's apparently why it happens because I'm over the moon. And they all start laughing, you know and they're all just like having a good time. It's a very like this is such a very feel good series, you know and this is kind of like a little bit, right? I don't know why I'm pointing with my hand. This is kind of like a little bit of foreshadowing. This is like hinting at a character we're gonna see, but you know um and then they're doing like this big, I think, post or pre-sports festival, sorry, pre-sports festival like announcements. And the teacher, I think the principal is just like saying like, oh, let's all have a great time, generic sports festival things that you're hearing. But apparently this girl, what's her name, it says it here, Nakamura is apparently the one who's supposed to give the speech, and none of them remembered. And she basically fumbles. She chokes, and Ruri, or Aiko, well, Ruri basically has to help. You know, they basically go, "You got it. Go up and say stuff." And she's just like, I'm the half dragon. What's up? Many of you already know about me, stuff like that. Have horns on my heads, blah blah blah. And she's basically kind of giving a speech, and she's basically like, I may be weird, but it's okay to be nice. Just come in whenever you want, and we can all like chat. Let's all be friends, basically. And her friends are going like, oh, you killed it, blah blah blah, you did great. Um, and then we get introduced to the punk girl. I can't remember their names. The punk girl's older sister, and it's basically like, oh, I can't look at you. You're too like brightly colored. You're too young, but stuff like that. And she's just like, oh yeah, you're the dragon friend. Nice horns. And next chapter, this is also kind of setting up for the actual sports festival aspect. And I'm actually very excited for the sports festival stuff because if my shonen brain, I always go to shonen brain because that's my default. If my shonen brain is right, if when Ruri has to go up to bat, she's gonna get weird dragon powers. She's gonna do something else with a weird. Since she's in her limit form, as they say, she's at peak performance. She might just like blitz everything. If she does like the baton pass, she might just speed blitz everybody. Anything to do with strength, stuff like that. It's gonna be. She's just gonna steamroll, you know. But this is basically just setting up like a the next step forward, which is these two they're gonna be racing. I think they're doing the race now somewhere. I think the obstacle course. They're gonna be doing the obstacle course. But yeah, I would like to see Ruri doing the obstacle course, because if she does, we might be able to see a little bit more of the dragon powers, or maybe like a weird self-defense mechanism, because she is currently in limit. I keep bringing it up. She's in limit form, right? That must mean something. That's not just, oh, it's an aesthetic thing. It probably means that since she's in peak form, she's probably going to be a lot stronger and faster than she thinks she is. Um, but yeah, it's a pretty quick chapter. You get like character interactions, very good. And yeah, that was chapter 25. I think it was called "What's on the Menu," I believe. Chapter 25 of RuriDragon. Now we go on to something very interesting. Kaiju number 8. Now, Kaiju number 8 is great, and this chapter is, oh my god, this chapter's crazy. So I feel like that's every time I say a chapter, it's like, oh, this chapter's crazy. But we just finished the flashback for the giant bug, which is it says like over 100 days. All that their monster is like the grudge of what happened. They keep saying the shame of everything, and it says like over 100 days. The monster like the monster that they're fighting now was like running amok, and apparently they mixed up the ley lines deep underground, and like I know ley lines are like and I don't know too much about like basic ley line knowledge. I know about it from Fate. That's the only reason I know what a ley line is, and I hear it sometimes in other stuff. But I need to do a little bit more research on ley lines in like folklore, like actual folklore, and not like media, so that I have a better understanding, because they're using it pretty like flippantly. I guess that's the word. They're saying it as if we know what ley lines are, you know. But he says like, oh, we were in the ley lines. All of our anger, our hearts, they all of our grudge basically became a core, and we became the creature. And it's still the guy that looks like Kafka. It's this guy Kafka's body was, his mind was in, right? So basically, all of them went into him. Oh my god, all of them went into him to be the vessel, and they all became the giant bug, right? And they're basically saying the bug is our grudge. That is our lingering hatred for what happened and our weakness, our shame, basically. And the guy, I don't know if he has a name. The soldier, I don't really remember. The soldier is basically like, um, we need to form an even deeper bond, so that we can, like, you already understand us now. In order to get a deeper understanding, we need to form a deeper bond, and with a deeper bond, we'll become stronger. And he shows him his heart. He shows Kafka's heart, and he's like, I can, like, our core was destroyed. I can return your heart to you, and you just go back to being a human. But I can convert your heart into a core, so that we can continue fighting on a higher level. But the trade-off is you won't be able to turn back into a human. That's the trade-off. Either you return back to being a normal human, normal base human. You don't have kaiju powers anymore. We're gone. There's no more of us. Or we take your original existing heart, turn it into a core, and put it in your chest, so that we can keep fighting and we can save our friends. You're going to be betraying everything that you care about in order to do this, in order to win. And he's basically saying like, do you still want to fight? We 100% understand if you want to say no, I don't want that. I want to go back to being a human. And they're like, I'm very sorry. Like, we understand if you say no, you know. But Kafka's like, oh, we're like that. We're the same. And he's like, everything that I thought I was going through, like, you guys have have it like way tougher than I did. Yeah, compared to the load you've been shouldering, what I've been carrying is a drop in the bucket, right? And he's saying like, the only way I was able to stand beside my friend and all my friends that I have now is because of you guys. And he says thank you, and it's revenge match time. It's time to like round 2 or round 3, I guess. And he's like, oh, there's no turning back. You know that, right? And he says, I don't mind. I'll fight. Sick, sick, sick. So he takes his heart. I don't know if he has a name. The Oni guy, the soldier, takes his heart and turns it into a monster core and puts it inside of Kafka's chest. And he's gonna go ape because now he's not. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm always so excited for the next chapter because it's true. Whatever is gonna happen next is going to be crazy. Kafka might have like a slightly different looking form. Who knows what what happens now? We know that full kaiju, like the monster, can create a human form. So him not being able to revert back to human is technically not true. You know what I mean? It's going to be more of like he's not able to really be human, you know? But not being able to turn into a full human, I don't think that's true because we know that number 9 is able to, or at least was able to. He was able to put on like a mask. Granted, he looks weird, but you know. So we're getting full actual kaiju Kafka going to run amok, you know, and he won't be by himself. He might be able to just no diff. I doubt he's not probably going to be able to no diff the giant calamity monster. I don't remember the new kaiju number 9. He's not going to be able to kill that thing probably by himself, but he's going to have a really easy time beating him, like almost no diff. And then with the help of everybody else who's probably still awake, I don't remember if they're dead. I don't know, not dead. I don't remember if they were knocked out, but everyone's jumping the monster now. Kafka's coming back. So I think this, oh, that was weird. I think this is going to be like, now that I'm finally saying, now this is the final saga. You know, this is the final push. We're probably going to end in like 10 chapters. That sounds like a lot, but not really. Yeah, this is like a good like move forward because this is like a whole other level. And then we're gonna see the aftermath, like what happens after they beat him, after they beat the giant calamity monster. Granted, Kafka could probably keep fighting kaiju, but you know, like it's weird. He might even just die after this. Who knows? But yeah, that was chapter 118. I don't know if they said the name. Is it like an insect? I don't know, or like a bug. I don't really remember. But that was chapter 118 of Kaiju number 8. Great chapter. Should I rank these? Should I rate these? Nah, I don't need to rate them. But yeah, this was that. And then now we're going to Ichi the Witch. We're going to Ichithewitch. We're covering chapters 1. Okay, so Ichi the Witch, chapter 12. Let me see if I can organize this correctly. I like doing that. There we go. Okay, so Ichi the Witch, chapter 12 and 13. This is more of like the hunting of the, did they give it a name yet? Well, they do. They give it here, but not in the previous chapters. They're hunting the mushroom one. We got Togais basically like trying to be like the normal suave princely knight, I guess, princely witch, I guess. And she's just like, oh yeah, of course, like I'll help you. My name is Togais. I'm the silver witch. I vow to. And then Ichi's just like, oh shoot, giant mushrooms, sick. You know, he's a wild guy. He's a wild kid. He's saying like, what do you guys want to eat? Right? He's like, oh, just a mushroom cat could probably eat fill an entire village, right? He's like, oh, do you like mushroom grilled or sauteed? He's already thinking about eating these things. We got a lot of mushrooms to harvest. That's the only thing on his mind, right? And Togais is like, come here. No, come here. I have to tell you. Are you not like, you're aware that we're doing this? This is a contest, right? You're aware that, and they basically go, she basically goes over the rules again. And Ichi goes, that's news to me. I didn't know that. And he goes to Descaras? I think that's how you pronounce it. Damn, I need to like actually read this stuff. I suck at reading. Descara, I believe her name's Descara. And he's like, I think someone forgot to tell me that this was the whole point of the mission. And Descara's just like, I thought it would be quicker to bring you here instead of telling you, showing that that's how she teaches. And Togais is basically saying like, oh, once I win and I'm able to teach you, I'll be hammering all this information into you. In like 3 years, you should be able to be a decent witch, right? And he's like, so no hunting, no fishing. He's like, I don't want to do that. He's like, F that, I'm not doing that. He's like, I'm this is my favorite thing. I have full confidence in my inability to sit still for 5 minutes straight. Feral children belong in the wild. That's a wild line. Who says that? And Descara's basically, yeah, Descara's. Yeah, I'm saying her name right. Okay. Descara's. Descara's basically saying like you're aware that you're feral. That's nice. And Ichi has a lot of faith in Kogumi, and he's like, Kogumi will teach me magic. I don't want to sit in a classroom. Um, and then this is basically just you accept to be a part of the mission or the I guess the test. This is the test. You agree with it? Yeah. Okay. Good. Let's do this. Right. And Togais just completely walks in the wrong direction. I really like this character, this quirk. I think it's very funny. But we also get more insight that Togais and Descara were like they were friends back in the day. They knew each other at least. It's just as bad direction as we were in school. Um, and I love the interactions between Kogumi and Ichi because it's such like a weird, nice dynamic. How when he talks about stuff, he's like, "If death is fulfilled, blah blah blah, I will not be outdone on a hunt." And she's like, "I feel bad for Togais now. I don't know why. He's just weird, right?" And he says he's extra at hunting mushrooms, and then we get this interesting scene. He says, "Don't forget me," and he passes somebody. So this could be a lot of things. This guy, this character, I believe it is a guy. I don't believe it's a girl. So this could be a few things. This could be these are usually the options, right? It could be his father, like the person who helped give birth to him, right? And he's kind of like seeing visions of him. The first thing I thought of was, is this like a future Ichi from like the future and doing something? I don't know. This could be like something like this alone makes this series way more interesting. I know the series is already interesting, but this kind of is laying groundwork even more for interesting stuff because we know Ichi was abandoned in the on the mountain. We know he was. That's what they said. They abandoned him and left him with a knife. And this little interaction where they look at each other and he's clearly not there, especially with the next panel that he's not there. I it's the usual like, is it him from the future? Is it his parent that he's seeing? The reason my brain goes to future Ichi is because of like the eye stuff, and we know he has a very strong magic. We know he has very strong magic, so maybe in the future he comes across like a Majiki for time, and he does absolute time stuff, blah 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 blah. Like he could do a bunch of stuff. It could be that, or it could be the main villain. But we don't really have groundwork for that yet, uh, because in my brain's reading this. This is a guy. This isn't a woman. This isn't a lady. So this is the even more interesting groundwork that we could see. Hopefully, crossing my heart, we see more of later on. But yeah, I went on a little of a tangent there. I'm very interested in this. So let's keep going on the mushroom hunt. And we're seeing like the difference in how Togais and Ichi think. Togais, there's like a giant ice wall, like slowing down the mushroom's growth. Okay, wait, that's right. We don't get the Togais stuff until next chapter. But they're basically saying like, oh, Togais made an ice wall, and now it's gonna be all the mushrooms are stopping their slow, so it's not as dangerous as it could be. And he's like, oh, this is her way of doing a thing. And then we get this funny scene. We get introduced to the Majiki that we're hunting, or magic. I say Majiki. I'm just gonna call him Majiki. I say this every single time. I'm just gonna call him Majiki. And we get this cute little scene where it's like, oh, it's weird that the thing hasn't shown itself yet, and it's literally crawling up. Is crawling up her. Kugami, I think her name is. I literally just said her name. We we get it crawls up Kugami, and they just start yelling at each other. They start screaming because they're scared. And we get this cute little scene where she literally like jumps into him. He's like, "Help me!" And this mushroom is just like, "Oh, you guys are witches. You're freezing my stuff." And he's like, "Oh, well." And then Ichi, being blunt, is just saying like, "Oh yeah, we're here to hunt you. We're here to get you." And the mushroom's like, "Oh, it's already time. It means you guys like me, right?" And he's like, "No, we're exterminators. We're here to kill you." And the mushroom's like, "Why?" He's like, I thought everybody loves mushrooms. Everything loves mushrooms." Um, and Ichi's just like, "No, that's not it." And he's like, "We're just you're actually quite a nuisance." And Desiree, Descara is, you're pretty much a nuisance. We're just gonna get rid of you. Um, and I love how they do the mushrooms. I love how the artist does the mushrooms reactions. It doesn't have eyes, it doesn't have anything, but it still has like an eyebrow ridge. So like you still get these really funny like thing. You get like the confused eyebrows. You get like the sweat. You get this really angry mushroom face, which is really funny. And then we get the trial, and I'll keep saying this: the trials are so interesting because it's not just, oh well, we have to kill it, you know. It's you have to do what we're asking you to like acquire our powers. You know, what could a mushroom power do? I don't know, but whatever. And is it the Kindrake? It is in this one. I'm the Kindrake magic. It's not Majiki. I'm just, whatever, Majiki. Just calling it that. For my trial, you have to cut the stem and harvest me. Horrible thing to say to Ichi because he will gung ho this through because he says he's expert at hunting mushrooms. And a part of the trial is that he's really small and there are really big mushrooms everywhere, so it's really hard to find him. Very interesting setup to what should be a really hard thing. But I remember when I first read this, I was like, wait a minute. If he has a stem, right, and he's running away, wouldn't you just have to find the stem and like follow him there, you know? Or just cut the stem, but I don't really know how it works. So that was chapter 1, that was chapter 12, and now time for chapter 13, which basically picks up a little after that. And we get from Togai's perspective and what she's doing. And we know that one of her I think students, I think they're her students, one of her students like was spying and saying, "Oh, this is what the Majiki looks like. Now we know what we're looking for." And we're getting commentary from the other two witches, the analysis witch and then the head of the witch stuff. And they're basically saying like, "Oh, whoever catches the mushroom Majiki first is a good question." And they're kind of gassing up Ichi's, like Ichi, like he's that guy. He's really good at hunting. Um, but Togais is like really smart. I think they say like she was, her and Descara were the youngest people to be added to like the mages, the youngest people to become witches. She was, I believe 11 when she first became a witch, which is pretty impressive. I don't know, like I don't really understand like the time frame, but it is impressive that she has 16 Majikis under her belt, which is, I guess it's a lot because the way they say like sometimes a Majiki hunt takes like years, and she already has 16. Yeah, at the age of 11, her and Desiree also like they both did it. So, or Descara, they both became it. So it's great. And she apparently did like a security system at 14 because she was so busy trying to like rein in Descara's like hijinks that she designed it so that she wouldn't have to do it. And we get the head witch basically saying, if anything happens to me, I want Togais to be like the head of it, the head of everything. And she says, "Oh well, why not me? Why not Descara's?" And she says, like, "No, no. The reason I'm doing this because she is reliable. She does everything out of concern for other people and concern of like the association itself. She's very concerned with all that stuff, and she cares, right? She's very smart, she's very hardworking, and she has the least ego out of all of us, right? Out of everybody there. However, we okay, well, first off, this entire segment has beautiful art. The Silver Witch, Chikutoga Togais, right? She summons this giant ice mirror, and then a giant ice dragon comes out, right? And she's saying her thing: dignified, disciplined, beautiful. Am I clear, everyone? She summons a little tiny one for her assistance, and then she's just freezing everything around her. And they said the one downside is that she can be like a bit of a meathead in combat. She's just brute force, freeze everything, don't worry about it. So, you know, it's a little much. But she summoned a three-headed, oh, it's a three-headed ice dragon. Oh, I never focused on that. It's a three-headed ice dragon. So the other students are on the heads of the dragon. So yeah, that's cool. And everyone's like, okay, so we know how Togais is gonna handle this. How's Ichi handling this? And he's a monster. Ichi's becoming a monster right now. And the mushroom is like something Ken, I forgot what it was, is freaking out because he's like, oh no, everything's freezing over. I don't have time to do anything, right? And he's like, it sucks so much because I'm running out of rooms to hide, and he's gonna find me. So he's not really scared of the giant ice dragon. It's more of like a nuisance because, you know, he's small, he can hide, but he's like, I'm running out of places to hide from him. And we see Ichi being an absolute like monster hunting this thing. This is such, like, for me, this is such a funny scene. I could just like picture it perfectly in my head, and he's ruthless. He's finding him everywhere he goes, right? He's like, how does he find me? And he's like, I thought witches were supposed to do like these big grandiose things like that, the other witch, but what is he? Why is he doing this? And then he does like the most gremlin phrase in the world. Tonight we have mushroom soup. Why? Why is he like this? It's just so fun seeing Ichi being like a gremlin. He's being a gremlin. We're hunting mushroom. He has a basket behind him full of mushrooms that he's currently harvesting. Like, he has no like chill when it comes to things like this, you know. But next chapter, we're probably gonna get the actual fight air quotes with the Majiki. But yeah, this was this is why I love the series. The series makes me laugh so hard sometimes. Like this shot, I basically burst out laughing, and then obviously this entire sequence where he's just finding him everywhere. But yeah, this was Ichi the Witch. I really love the series. I hope and pray that it's going to. It's already, from what I can tell, people are like talking about it a lot, and I'm really grateful for that. I really want this to go high in the shonen sphere, like it's just there, and I want it to stick around because it's so good. It sucked to see this thing get cut short. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think of most of the stuff that we've covered already, right? If you guys have any opinions, if you guys think it's trash, you know, put it in the thing. If you guys think it's great, put it in the comments. I know that's a little weird, but you know. Next, we're covering Chainsaw Man. Oh yeah. Oh no, that's how it starts. Okay. I thought I was a little too far ahead. But this Chainsaw Man chapter, it does have a lot of words. If you want to read them, you can read them. I'm not going to. But the aging devil is kind of like, what? Like he's so confused. He's like, they live longer when they discover like he's flabbergasted. We get this scene of like, people care about aging. These people are very selfish, you know. And he's basically waxing poetic. And he's basically like, how does a boy who's lived for less than 20 years intend to escape on your own? Like, how do you expect to do that? And we get his master plan. He's like, I just ran, right? To make myself hungry. Because unlike your other prisoners, my stomach isn't here. Now it's all clicking together. This man's brain is ginormous. And he goes over to Asa and he's like, did you make what I asked you to? He's like, cool, you made a giant axe. And he starts hacking at the tree people. And he's like, that isn't a tree, it's a human person, right? It's a person. And he goes, I know. That's exactly what I'm aiming for. And he starts eating the intestines of the tree man like a monster, like a gremlin. I keep doing the gremlin comparison, but like this is peak Denji, where he comes up with these wacky ideas that only he would really think of. None of these other people would have thought to, oh, let's eat like the tree people so we could do something. No, because they don't think like that. He ate the tree person's the intestines in order to rip his ripcord, which I said it should work, and in order to power up Pochita. And he's saying like, Pochita, I'm counting on you. You got this, right? And now he has a perpetual motion machine again. He can't stop him. unless he tries to do something in the other thing, but he could just keep eating the bodies of the people in the trees, which is so smart. And now Pochita, now he's gonna keep fighting. And I don't think the aging devil can really do anything. I don't think he can do anything anymore. Members for public security, Chainsaw Man's coming, right? So keep me safe, basically. So Pochita's now on the loose and is now again a perpetual motion machine because he could just keep eating the tree people, and there's thousands of them. There's literally a forest worth. He could just keep eating them, and Pochita can't really die, which is great. I love that's so smart because I would have never thought of that. Only Denji, who's I guess this far gone, once he realized, wait a minute, my stomach's not here, and I know that with blood and like organs, I can heal myself, and I know that Pochita's stomach is out there and he's still hurt. So if I eat the food, if I eat it, and I swallow it and I rip the ripcord, which I still have, it should help Pochita since my stomach isn't here. It is such a smart, again, I'm saying the word gremlin, a smart gremlin way of thinking about it. Because how is the aging devil going to stop him? He can't. He's going to do the same thing he did to the Infinity Devil, where it's just, well, guess what? Okay, you destroy my body, eat, rip. You're going to have to keep dealing with not just normal Pochita, not just Denji, but Pochita, who is probably way stronger than normal Denji, which he definitely is, and he's just going to monster his way through everything. You know what I mean? He's going to brute force his way through no matter what. Unless you're throwing crazy stuff at him, it's not going to work. You're not going to beat him. And he's probably not even going to kill him either. He's probably not going to eat him anyway. He's probably just going to cut him to pieces. And then whatever happens to him happens to him. You know? Just basically put him out of the picture for a little bit. This is such a smart idea, and I'm very much looking forward to next chapter. Chapter 186. But we didn't get that this week. We would have, but we didn't, unfortunately. So we should just be getting... We're getting a chapter next week. We know that for sure. But I'm very excited. What do you guys think of this chapter? This chapter, I think, was really great. Oh my god, I still can't like... Oh man, it's so cool. Okay, so that's the end of Chainsaw Man 185. Now we move on to Kagurabachi. Now, last week, Kagurabachi didn't really have a chapter. We got a little... it's a bonus chapter. We got a little bonus chapter, and it covers Sojo. And the Sojo believers who said we'll see him again, they were right, but technically we didn't. Because this is technically a prequel to the series, technically. Because this takes place before Sojo got the Cloud Gouger. And this is basically just, it's a little, I'll say Nance's story is like a little bit weird, but it's basically saying like, I have a job, I have to get the sword. I think he already got the sword by this point, if I'm correct. Because, oh no, I think, yeah, he hasn't got it yet, but they're going to acquire the sword. They're on their way to acquire the blade. And some people come around, they're like, oh, you know, the 40%, we want it back, blah, blah, blah. And Sojo just kills him. And we see a little bit more of Sojo's, like, weird personality, where he's like, oh, man, I don't have my, like, the shampoo is weird. It's cold shampoo. I can't get my milk. But he's like, you know what? It's fine. I'm going to get Cloud Gouger. So everything is okay. And that's basically a little chapter. And this is like a little... It's basically a prequel to the series. It's like a pre-series thing. This is not the earliest point of time I've seen, but this is like almost just before what happens in the series, which is pretty interesting. We got more Sojo, so the Sojo believers got their fill. What this chapter implies, what this chapter would like show, I'd be interesting to see like a little like slight bonus chapters that cover Sojo getting the Cloud Gouger, because I do want to see what Cloud Gouger's original wielder looked like. I don't think we saw them. So I would like to see them and how he got Cloud Gouger, because we know that these enchanted sword wielders, they were still pretty tough even without their blades. But I would like to see how he got it, you know, and how he killed the other guy to get his sword. I'd like to see that, but for now, this is all we're getting. I still pretty much I like it. For any of the Sojo believers, you got your fill. So now we go to the actual chapter 59. And this picks up right where, first off, another beautiful color page. Beautiful color page. Oh my god. Like, the artist, Hakazono? Or Takaru? Hakazono. The artist Hakazono is wild. I think you say Takaru. Whatever. Takaru Hakazono is, like, he did this, he did the other one. For the main shonen stuff, it's great. But we pick up basically right where we left off. Chihiro comes back in to Samura, and Uruha's dead body after Samura killed him. And Hakuri's knocked out, but he's like, oh shit, and we see Chihiro basically like saying tweaking out is a little mean. He's freaking out because he's like, oh shoot, my friend, like, you were supposed to be like one of my friends. You were supposed to like help us. Like, the Hisaku, they killed my dad. Like, how on earth could you like possibly believe that it's the best thing to help them get the enchanted blades? And Samuro basically says like, of revenge. Like, I heard rumors. He's not even registering what he's saying. He doesn't really care, right? And he's like, lay down your sword. I'll handle the rest. Samura. And Chihiro's like, F that. No. If you're an enemy, then I'll have to kill you. He's like, I'll do it. Chihiro's this is Chihiro tweaking out right here. He's like, hell I will. If you're an enemy, then I'll kill you. I have to. I'll do it. And then he gets cut down. Pretty bad. And now we're seeing the power that these swords have, because he just speed blitzed Chihiro, right? And he's basically Samura saying, Chihiro, like, don't worry, you don't have to do anything anymore. He's saying like, this sword is the problem. But before he can grab it, Shiba comes in. Shiba the goat. So Shiba, everyone's saying Shiba's probably the strongest person in the universe, because at this point, the guy who basically says, I can solo the verse, right? I can solo everybody here, which we'll see that he can, basically, who's saying like, I can solo everybody. They don't have to worry about anything. Shiba's like, why? Why are you doing this? And Samuro says like, they're the Hishaku are basically like, they know what we did, and they're gonna tell everybody, right? And the curse forever binds us, whatever, blinds us, as we continue to live as heroes. And he says, you didn't tell Chihiro, that's good. This is how it ends. And he leaves. And people are saying, wow, Shiba scared him off. That's my favorite thing. Shiba scared him off. And we get this little blurb, not true, that says, Yuji Uraha and Chihiro are dead. Uraha's dead. We saw that for a fact. But Chihiro's not. He's definitely not. He's the main character. And we're getting a little catch up. He's getting fake arms or cyber arms. And we're getting everything from his perspective. I forgot what his name is. We're getting everything from his perspective. And then we get this little scene, right? Well, first we're getting this little stuff. It's like, oh, why don't you let me use the sword? And the guy's like, oh, no big deal. We're just in a little bit of a problem right now. And we get Owl. And then we get this. People have brought this up a lot in like the series. Like, what on earth could require this much force? Because this is like multiple blocks. It's basically a town, and he's covering the entire town in Owl. What could possibly require this much force in a war? I feel like it's really hard to imagine what requires this, but I feel like I keep forgetting that magic exists in this world, that it's not just the enchanted blade. I keep forgetting that, because I see this and I'm like, what in this world would require this much force? And then I remember, oh wait, there's magic in this world, or sorcery, and a lot of them have like weird ability. We haven't seen anything cataclysmic yet, but people are like, why would Chihiro's dad make these things? It doesn't make sense. And I agree. But after seeing this, it kind of makes sense why he says, I can solo the verse, because I haven't seen anything yet that would match this monstrosity. Owl, like, it's too much. It's too much, you know? And he just appears in front of them and he's like, good job, you know? And we're basically getting explanation on like a little bit of backstory. They have apparently basically a binding vow. It's the best way I can explain it. It's a pinky promise, weirdly goofy, but all right. Um, it's a binding vow. That's the best way to explain it. And from this guy, we're getting a little bit of a background on what happened, right? After Chihiro's dad died, um, Samura basically made a deal, right? He says he'll kill all the sword bearers as long as you reveal the identity of the other 10 members of the Hishaku, reveal the identity of the people who leaked Rokuhiro's location, and then reveal the whereabouts of the other enchanted blades. All those stuff. And he's basically like, after that, he's like, I'll kill all of them, don't worry. And then after that, I'll kill all of you. And they're very much afraid of that fact, which makes sense because what he's doing isn't smart, but it is. You know what I'm saying? He's getting rid of the people that can use the swords effectively, right? And once he does that, once he fulfills his promise, he just kills all the people who gave him that promise, and then he's the only one that has to burden all this stuff. It's still stupid. It's still very dumb, but I guess you can logic it out in your head, especially when you're sad, I guess. But he killed Chihiro. The guy's like, you killed Chihiro, I'll kill you. And he's like, the pip, little pipsqueak, now contractor to Kiyomeyuri. I'm botching all these words, but he says, after I kill the sword bearers, I'll battle you all to death. And this guy again saying like, that's the risk. That's the problem. The only reason he's doing all this, the only reason he's doing this is kind of to avenge all the stuff and kill all of us. Because once he has all of our information, it's gonna be kind of hard to hide from him, especially with his sword. And he's like, it's gonna take 2 weeks. He says, contact me, and then he dips like a menace. And then they're trying to find the information about the other swords, about the other sword bearers, because since they have Shiba and Shiba can teleport anywhere, Shiba's basically going around saying, hey, Samura's a cheater. Samura's a traitor. You know, be on guard. And they're heightening defenses, they're all doing stuff. And Chihiro is in surgery right now. He's not dead, but he's gonna be pretty messed up. He's gonna be pretty messed up, and I'm looking forward to what happens next. We're probably gonna get a training arc, a little one, but he's healing right now. But truthfully, I do not know how they're gonna beat him. They'll have to give one of the other sword bearers an enchanted blade, their enchanted blades, because that's really the only way. But they say Flamebone says to be as strong as an enchanted blade, but that doesn't really mean anything if the enchanted blade blitzes you before you can use Flamebone, you know? But I know it says he was pronounced dead, but of course you'd want them to think he's dead so that you don't have to worry about it. But who knows? He's not dead, but who knows what happens next? Kagurabachi, I love that it's getting all the support it is. I love that it's skyrocketing because it's so good. Yeah, I'm excited, right? But we are kind of getting into the territory where it feels like it's going a little fast. You know, it's like, oh, in a week it'll be over. But a week could be 7 chapters, or a week can be 1 chapter, or a week can be no chapters. You know what I mean? So this is like the weird stage we're in. We're kind of getting into the safe zone. Once you're in like 50s, you're kind of like, okay, you're doing numbers, but it's really in like the hundreds where you're kind of like, okay, I'm good. You know, I'm good to like keep going for a little bit longer. But yeah, that was Kagurabachi, and that basically covers all of our all of our series, the series that we're doing. Um, I'm I love all these stuff. I'm really happy Kagurabachi's getting stuff. What do you guys think? I feel like I need to be asking that. What do you guys think about these chapters that we covered? Do you like them? Do you hate them? What do you have theories for what happens next? Say it in the comments. You know, generic YouTube stuff like comment, share, subscribe. I appreciate everybody who comes in, even for a minute, even for a second. And yeah, I'd like to bid you all a farewell.